hold a certain lure to you. The how about the Partridge Family? They got along well. Oh wait, they weren't a real family, were they?
They had that blue bus, man. It was the blue bus. And Mr. Kincaid, man, he just put it all together, you know? So.
That's right, David Cassidy, man.
Oh gosh,
they had a great Christmas album, by the way. I'm going to admit here, one of my favorite things I like to play is the Partridge Family Christmas album from the '70s. But I digress.
You have it on vinyl, right? You have it on vinyl.
I think I do, but I had to get the CD because I don't have a turntable. But now I need to get one because vinyl is back, baby.
That's a whole other show. Anyway,
yeah.
In fact, did we do that show already?
I don't think we have. After 50 shows, you start to get. I think our podcast, I believe, is pretty soon is going to start getting notices from AARP.
Oh yeah, that's right, man. We're going to get discounts on, I don't know what do they give
audio gear?
Yeah, there you go. That's right. No, instead of earbuds, we're going to get discounts on hearing aids. There you go. So anyway, but yeah, so we're all over the place. But yeah, so like some of the pluses, is the financial, B, the ability to go and see things, do things, basically get paid vacations, maybe the security that like somebody's not going to get up and just totally quit, maybe. And then, for me, this is an interesting one because like my children are involved, is, watching them go from, just learning to now, and I love this part, telling me how to do things. Yeah, that's really fun.
Especially when they're right.
I don't want to talk about that. Yeah. So, what's really satisfying for me, and I hope my son doesn't listen to this, is, when, he fights, he's my son, so he'll like, I'll tell him how things need to be done. And of course he's like, no, you don't have to do it that way, or I'm not going to listen, cause he's my kid, whatever. But it's really satisfying when he tries to get together or gets together with some other musicians. And I hear him saying the same stuff that I said to him a million times, to other people, you know what I mean? No, that's not the way you do it. You do it like this, you know what I mean?
And he has the sudden realization, oh my God, I sound like my dad.
I know, you just have that big smile, so it's really great. But yeah, but it's really great watching, the family, the kids blossom and I don't know about other people, but I mean, we have, my family, we have great relationships because we do something together. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so, it's an interesting bond.
So let me just ask you, because I think I've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I don't know if you have given me your full attention on this topic of what do you have to give up control? I mean, so you're the father, I don't know how traditional of a family you guys are, but it seems to me to work with any group of people, but especially your family, you've got to give up your need to control everything and have everyone feel like they're contributing, and so how do you deal with that dynamic within your own family? I'm sure there's some lessons you've learned along the way.
Yeah, I just ignore their feelings and step on them, and
that's pretty much, you are the king. I am the man of the house.
Yeah, it's like I told you, until my wife steps in and tells me I'm wrong, okay. I'm right. No, you're absolutely right. Well, again, in my situation, it's interesting because my wife didn't really have any professional musical experience when I met her. She was a school teacher, but she knew how to sing and she could play some instruments a little bit here and there. And then, for going from zero to watching her become, a professional musician to the point where, she really absorbed, my mentality and all that stuff. And then my kids doing the same thing. Oh. Now at an older age, I have to be honest with you, it is a little bit more difficult for me because now everybody seems very secure, both musically and professionally and everything. So it's like, I don't really have the iron fist I used to have.
It was so much easier when they were all insecure and they relied on you. And oh God. They can think for themselves.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I was a little worried for your wife when you said she absorbed your mentality. I said, "Oh, poor woman."
I'm telling you, man. So I mean, that is the trade off. And now, my son, and daughter actually have done a lot of writing, and we've done a lot of songs together, and that's another thing sometimes. Getting back to what you were saying earlier about working with Pookie when you're like doing originals and stuff. Like my son has become quite a lyricist, and he's written a lot of lyrics, and for some of the non-children stuff, he's done, like he did like most of the lyrics for the zombie thing that we do, and my daughter, also is very creative and has ideas on that, and so it's really hard for me. I guess for those of you that have never really done the family thing before, and you've been like, let's say, a band leader, yeah, you really it's going to be different to accept and not try to be Iron Fist man. You know what I mean? So that is important, and sometimes I forget that they're not little kids, and my wife doesn't know what she's doing now. You know what I mean? Boy, I sure hope these guys don't listen to this show.
Yeah, I hope we're not losing all our female subscribers.
Well, no, I mean, it could be the other way around. I mean, I know women that kick butt, and their significant others are just getting started out. I've seen that, and it's the same thing. It's not just a guy thing. It's whoever's been doing it first and the longest. You know what I mean? I guess.
Right, and you did admit that she ultimately makes the final decision. That you
always,
yeah, we know who the real boss is.
Absolutely. So that goes without saying. Hold on here, I lost my screen. There it is. Okay, so and that would be bad. Anyway, so I guess what I'm saying is for me, all the pros outweigh the cons. To be honest with you, I don't really know how many cons there are. I've been in many groups without my family members, and to be honest with you, I'd rather work with my family members than not. I just feel more secure.
Yeah, cool. So I think that maybe the bottom line here is, if you never, let's say that you never have done it, but there's a possibility that you could be working with someone you're close to, significant other or blood relative, just be ready to switch gears and not become a floor mat or whatever that they let somebody walk all over you, but it is a collaborative effort, and so sort of be aware of when you're trying to control too much, and make and maybe also be clear. I think it's been helpful with me where I'll come up with a song, and like Pookie will just start like jumping in with something, and every now and then I got to go, well, actually, this is a song that I feel is probably more of a personal one, and I want to, it's probably, I don't see it as a collaborative thing, so I have
good luck with that one, Bob.
Yeah. but however, I had to balance that out with, well, let's write a song together for the choir or for a duo. So as long as you're meeting everyone's needs, and that's a tough balancing act to have to pull off. But just, be willing to give up control, be willing to share the duties, and then maybe set clear boundaries about, if you still need to work on your own, which I think a lot of, I feel that I do. Plus I have my writing and I have other activities that are solely mine too. But maybe, let the person know, okay, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to do this with you. Just make sure you're giving energy and time to the collaborative effort, if that's something that's in, that you both want to make work.
And then there's a couple other things too. It's important to realize that your family members have lives also, and when you're a family and you're in the music business, and for a lot of people, for me, the music business is my life, so I have a tendency to not know when to stop, and I have a tendency to like burn my family out sometimes, or it's like okay, fine. Now my son, I'm done now. I want to go play some video games, or my wife just wants to chill and I'm still in the mode. You know what I mean? So you gotta know, just because they live with you or you see them all the time, or they're your kids or your family, your brothers or sisters, that, they still need to have that time to do what they do. One thing that I find really challenging, and I've seen be very challenging for other people though, is when you mix a family situation with a non-family situation. And I guess the most traditional form of that I've seen is like the couple in the band. You've seen that, right, Bob? And that brings up a whole other set of challenges and whatnot.
Or the Yoko syndrome. Like, I want to bring my girlfriend into the band, and everybody's like, "What? Wait a second."
Yeah. Or What I've seen sometimes is actually many times is, I've seen a couple and they're starting a band and there's a respect issue with the musicians because it's a couple, you know what I mean? And one or the other sometimes doesn't get the respect that the other one thinks the other deserves, and it causes all kinds of problems. So if you're entering into a situation where you're mixing, whether it's brothers, a couple, you and your kid, and actually I've had that. That was one thing I had happen. I was really, for a while there, we had another guy and my son and I and a dude, and he just did not have any level of respect at all for my son playing. He was younger at the time. He was like maybe 15, 16, but he, to be brutally honest, he played better than the guy we had in the band, but he just still didn't give him the level of respect because he was a kid. And I have issues, and of course I had issues with that. So you got to be careful when you're mixing family and business with other people that are not in the family. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Probably in those situations, either maybe a spin-off project, do a separate duo or separate project with that other person, or when you do, don't like ram, force it on everybody instead of saying, I think my brother or my girlfriend should be in the band or my boyfriend. You would say, hey, do you mind if she just sits in on one song and see what you guys think, so you kind of ease into it or bring it up as what would happen if, and if they're open to it, great. If there's resistance, well, maybe you should do a side project.
Right. But again, I'm saying, let's suppose, you and Pookie decide, we're going to get 3 other guys and we're going to go out on tour and we're going to do this thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well,
oh yeah.
Therein does lie some challenges, because, either one of you, you're a couple now, you're not like 2 individuals that are equal to the other musicians in the band in their eyes. I've just seen it so many times. You're a couple, you know what I mean? And a couple is perceived differently than 2 people, you know what I mean? It just is.
Right.
So these are just things or if you bring your kid into the band, it's your, you can't see, but I'm doing air quotes right now. It's your kid, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then, and some people had issues. Here's another thing too. Let's say you bring family members into a group. What's the pay scale? That's another really interesting.
Oh boy. Oh yeah.
So there's a lot to think about if you're going to, I mean, for me, again, the upsides totally outweigh anything negative, but there are, as with anything, there's positives and negatives. And I guess you need to decide if you're going to go down that road, do the positives outweigh the negatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I think even though this is a big topic and we've still just scratched the surface, I think we have thoroughly we've given it a pretty honest overview here. I think so.
Yeah, I do, and I would really, really love to hear what you guys have to say about this. Is there anybody out there that's in a family situation, whether it's a couple or especially siblings? I want to hear it from the siblings. I'm curious. We'd like to hear your stories and your input, and there's a few ways you can get those to us. Bob, you want to field that?
Let's see. So to leave us a digital voicemail, which is our preferred method of hearing from you, you can go to speakpipe.com/Mr. Buzz Factor. That's MR Buzz Factor. So speakpipe.com/Mr. Buzz Factor. That's the primary way we'd love to hear from you. Any other ways?
You can be reached on Twitter.
Yes, at also Mr. Buzz Factor.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I'll say, that's great. And then a couple of quick things here before we run off. I'm actually making some hard choices here, and I'm actually going to be closing down the Music Marketing Mind brand because to be brutally honest, for 40 years I've been a full-time working musician, and I think that's really what I want to spend my time on. A lot of the other endeavors, although I love them, and I'm not going to drop this project. I love this project, and I love talking to you every week and hearing from everybody. But the Music Marketing Mind stuff has really been taking up a lot of my time that I should be using, or I could be using more effectively for booking shows and recording and moving forward with my full-time working musician career. So
yeah, and speaking of families, there are the realities. You need to support your family.
Yeah, I need to support my family. They need a job too, and I'm kind of the boss, so more or less, unless my wife says. And so that's a decision I made. So you'll notice like some of the things like